All right, welcome back to the second Weapon Hex video. If you haven't seen the first one, make sure to check that one out. But this team is the Mystical Weapon Hex team as opposed to the Defenders Weapon Hex team. And honestly, this team is significantly better. This team is better by a long shot. So jumping right into it, we got Weapon Hex. She's got this power action, which is like technically useful. It's not awful, but admittedly, it's not great. But on this team, we can use it a little bit better than other teams that are running Weapon Hex. So, as a power action, you choose an opposing character within 6 squares and line of fire. You give it a target spell token, removing it from anybody else. Friendly characters with the mystical keyword can use improved targeting everything when targeting only the character with the target spell token. So, they get a giant mark on them and you can see them through everything. It's useful if your opponent takes you to a map with a bunch of blocking, because then you can like probability control the roll when they can't probability control you back, because you can see your guy but they can't see you. It's useful. You can always outwit through a wall or something like that. It's useful. It's not crazy though. For the power action, honestly, most of the time, you're better off just having Weapon Hex run in there and kill shit. So speaking of, for our special attack power here, we've got Blades, Claws, Fangs. When Weapon Hex uses it, after resolutions, you may place a hit character up to X squares away from the current square, where X is the D6 result. So you roll your blades, say you roll a 4, then you can teleport them 4 squares away. So you can teleport them into a kill box, because this is a very melee team. So you deal damage with the Weapon Hex, and then they get a wounded token because of Wendigo, and you teleport them 4 squares towards the Wendigo. Then the Wendigo eats them. Or you roll a 4 on your blades, and you teleport them 4 squares into Blackheart and all his minions. Or you teleport them 4 squares into Captain Britain and Captain Avalon, who just annihilate them. This team is very funny. This team is very aggressive. This is a hyper-aggressive melee-based team. So you need to get onto your opponent. And we've figured out some ways to get there. Next up, with Weapon Hex, we've got her very annoying stop click with super senses, and at the end of your turn, heal Weapon Hex 1 click. Now, this is above average stop click. Probably only shows up on the end of her dial. No, in fact, shows up on her second click. And she has the Mystic Steam ability. What the hell is that? So how this works is you have a 18 with a super senses with a probs. So maybe they hit you. If they do, that's fine. It doesn't matter. Maybe you miss your rollout. That's fine. That doesn't matter. They take a Mystics damage and then you go to your stop click. And then you have a 19 now with a super senses that can't be outwit because they can't outwit anything in a stop click. Plus you still have a probs if you haven't used that yet, which I recommend saving for when you're on the 19 because it's harder to hit. And then if they miss you with a super senses or just missing the 19, then on the end of your turn, you heal back up, but first, you get to flurry them with the blades. It's crazy. And since the teleport with the Blades, Claws, Fangs is at the end of resolutions, when you flurry them, if you roll a 3 and then a 4, you can teleport them 7 squares. This character is crazy, and we're about to make her even better. She technically has the Defender's Team ability, but nobody else on this team does or is a wild card or anything like that, so we can't really use that part. If you like the Defender's ability, go see the previous video that we put out with Weapon Hex. That's the Defender's build around. But we're abusing this Mystic Steam ability here with the Soul Sword, which is the sword we have in front of her. This is a X-Men X of Swords organized play event special unique sword. So unfortunately, you do have to play in that event in order to get this sword. Now, luckily, it's not that hard to pull. Out of the 8 people that joined ours, 2 people pulled Soul Swords. So that it's not awful to pull, and it's not like crazy expensive, hopefully. By the end of the event, there'll be a few more running around. So ideally, you should be able to get a hands on this, even if you've missed the OP event. But let's see the effects. So it gives Blades, Claws, Fangs like all swords. That's fine. She has Blades, Claws, Fangs anyways. And it gives Mystics. Boy, she has both of those. So why are we giving this to her? Well, if we keep reading, if this character already has Mystics, when they deal damage from that ability, choose one. Either deal 2 penetrating damage instead, or also heal 1 click. So that's some bullshit, because we have a stop click on our second click. So what's going to happen is they're going to hit us, and then we're going to deal Mystics damage to them. And then since we dealt Mystics damage to them, we're going to heal 1. This is a problem. This makes her almost unkillable. There's technically ways to get around this, but they are very few and far between. The easiest and most common ways are either you just poison her onto the stop click, and then when you hit her, she goes all the way down here and then heals up 1, right? So you've made it past the first stop click, but there's a second one. You still have to deal with the problem, right? Also, that's assuming that you missed your super senses roll on the attack, right? You're a 19, you have probs, you have super senses. You're hard to hit. Or if they have invincible, because the Soul Sword has to have seen you deal damage with your Mystic Steam ability. Mystic Steam ability is penetrating damage, not unavoidable. So if they are able to reduce penetrating damage, whether they be a Legacy Thanos or have any other passives like that, or if they just have straight up invincible, you don't deal the Mystics damage, so you don't heal. So that's basically the only ways to deal with that. And also, there's outwits on this team. You can just outwit an invincible or a poison, and then they can't kill her. And that's very funny. So this is our build around for this team, and since Laura here has some very funny keywords, she's got Defenders, which we've already gone over, Warp World. Warp World only shows up on the X-Men Rise and Fall chases, so like Technically, you can kind of slap a bunch of those on a team, but it's not going to be great for my money. Weapon X is a very funny team for her as well, or with all the Wolverines. And then X-Men, which is just classic. For my money, there's better stuff you can be doing with X-Men, although this is still some bullshit. And Mystical. Mystical is already a very strong keyword, and I think that this Weapon Hex with the Soul Sword will make a welcome addition to these teams moving forward. Next up, into the conga line of mystical bullshit that we're going to be doing with this team, we've got Blackheart and his Hellfire Goons. I'm going to scoot these guys back here real quick. So, for those who are not familiar with Blackheart, I apologize. I'm about to introduce you to even more disgusting grossness. So, first off, Blackheart has traded leadership, so they can outwit it if they really want to, but not for long, and we'll see why. When Blackheart uses it and succeeds, you may instead generate a Hellfire Club card on click 1. As a power action, you can turn all friendly Hellfire Club cards to click 9. Well, that's interesting. We'll see what click 9 on these things looks like in a little bit. First, on his trait, it says, if a character has been KO'd since your last turn, that's friendly or enemy, Blackheart deals penetrating damage. So, if anything dies ever, he gets penetrating damage for the turn. I wonder how we kill things. Let's find out. As a free action, once per turn for all characters with this trait, KO a friendly Hellfire Club guard. Oh, so that's how we do it. In the same ability. Got it. Also, if you did, remove all action tokens from Blackheart, heal him 1 click, and he can, after resolutions, he can either use charge or running shot as free. So there's a lot of text there, and every single one of those words is bullshit. So what ends up happening with this play pattern often is you'll leadership, you'll summon a guy, right? Don't forget to roll your leadership on turn 1 with this guy, because there is still the benefit of summoning a guy. Our Blackheart here is flying, so he can carry the guards, so that's nice, that's beneficial. Then, maybe throughout the game, at some point, you'll make a second guard. There's ways that Blackheart can make guards that we'll get into a little bit that's not just his leadership, but maybe you get lucky and you get the second leadership. Then, as a power action, you can turn all the guards to click 9. Plot twist, they get better on click 9. Then, after the guards are done doing their thing, you can kill one of the guards, heal him a click, remove all the counters on him, like the power action that we just got or the action that he took earlier in the turn to move up, then use charge or running shot as free. So there's a lot going on there, and we're not done. He also has a stop click that has Mastermind, so when he's on the stop click, you can just Mastermind these little guards, if there is one, but oh wait. Also, he has Cosmic, so he can't be outwitted, and now he also has Willpower. And when this click is first revealed, generate a Hellfire Club guard. What the hell is even that? So when he gets hit, you will be able to stop click, then summon a guard, then you have Mastermind. So if you get hit again, you just kill the guard. And then, since something died, you have Penetrating. Even if they didn't kill the guard, he has a decent defense and he has probability control, so you might be able to just make them miss, or they might just not hit, or they might just like try to ignore him. You can't do that with Blackheart. Blackheart's crazy. And then you just start going crazy mode with the Hellfire Club guards on click 9. Now, one stop click with a Mastermind is not that hard to get through, but he also has 2 stop clicks. Why does he also have 2 stop clicks? Also, on his running shot, he can Energy Explosion. The Energy Explosion running shot that he does for free, or the charge that he does for free, is a Flurry with Blades. Why is this character like this? Also, he has Mystics. So you hit him to the stop click, then he generates a guy, and then he has Mastermind. Also, you take a damage from the Mystics. Good luck. Then, I'm going to power action. I'm going to make my guard kill you. Then I'm going to kill my guard. I'm going to gain Penetrating. I'm going to heal 1 off my stop click. And then I'm going to hit you for free. And the next turn, when you hit me, I'm going to stop click again. You're going to get Mystics again. Now, admittedly, the second time that each click is revealed, you do not summon another guard. It says the first time each game, you summon a guard off the stop click. So you're only going to get 2 guards off the stop click. But baby, we got leadership. We can just roll for more guards. It's that easy. We also have probability control and outwit, similar to our Laura. We go from probability control to outwit back to probability control. Very similar to Laura. So we're able to roll off on some of these things, outwit annoying things. Also, while we're on the stop click, we have cosmic energy, so they can't outwit anything on us. Plus, we have willpower, so we're always cooking. We're always removing shit. We're always killing people. Blackheart is crazy. For those who have played against a Blackheart or played with a Blackheart, I'm sure you're aware of exactly how crazy Blackheart is. But these two paired together are 2 stop clicks of Mystics damage, which are almost impossible to kill on both of them. And they're 75 points each, 10 points with this Soul Sword. That's 160 points that your opponents just basically can't score. Now, notably, every time you summon a guard in and they die, your opponent does score 25 points. So you do have to keep that in mind when you're running Blackheart. That's just a sin of running Blackheart, unfortunately. But now, let's look at the Hellfire Club guard. We've got the Hellfire Club guard. So adjacent friendly characters with the Hellfire keyword can use Mastermind, but only to choose Hellfire Club guard. So even when Blackheart heals off of that stop click that gives him Mastermind, he can still Mastermind to the guards, because he is Hellfire Club. Nobody else on this team is Hellfire Club, unfortunately, but he is, and that's all we need him to be. Then also, they have on their special movement, Flying, Charge, and Flurry. Wonder where that could show up. As well as some useful abilities. So we'll see here when you first summon them, they're kind of bad. They have a running shot with a 10 penetrating, 17 toughness for 2 damage, not great. But this is Click 9, and Click 9 is very funny because Click 9 has flying, so they ignore elevation or blocking as long as you're outdoors or any hindering or anything like that. They will charge, so they will run 5 squares. They will flurry. They will Blades Claws Fangs you for 11 each time with a penetrating. And you can't even like poison them back or anything like that because they have toughness. So you just run at them and then kill them. And then after you're done with the guard going crazy, you kill the guard with Blackheart, and Blackheart goes crazy. This is a one-man army. This figure is a one-man army, and now he's paired with an unkillable melee assassin. But team's not done, baby. We got more. We got more. We got Wendigo. So Wendigo is a colossal figure, so he's got kind of a book here. He's got a lot going on. So we play him in his 15-point line, which we can see here. He's a big guy. He's got a lot of clicks, but you almost always are only playing this guy at 15 points. He's got a special movement, special defense, and penetrating damage for 3 damage. Not bad for only 15 points for this little guy. Some nice little guys. Now, most of these colossal guys will have a retaliator ability. Wendigo, unfortunately, does not have a retaliator ability because then he would be too broken. He's already pretty damn broken. So, traded, he has sidestep, but only if a character has a wounded token. Well, how do you get wounded tokens? When an opposing character takes damage from any attack, give that character a wounded token if they don't already have one. If a character heals, remove that wounded token. So, when Laura hits anybody, or when Blackheart with his 1 million guards hit anybody for damage, they get a wounded token. And then Wendigo runs after them. He can sidestep after them. Okay, but you're just sidestepping. That's not much. He also has Colossal Stamina, Steel Energy. So the Colossal Stamina is a willpower on 3, 4, 5, or 6, and Steel Energy. Not bad, but he only has 1 click, so why do we really care about Steel Energy? When he uses Steel Energy, he can heal past the starting line. Why? Why can he do that? Also, special movement ability is Charge Flurry, which is already pretty good, because you're going to charge in, then you're going to flurry, you're going to hit them twice, you're going to probably give them a wounded token, and then you can sidestep away. That's fine. A little defensive. Also, you're going to heal 2 clicks when you deal damage to them, because you're going to heal 1 for each Steel Energy that you hit with. When Wendigo ends his movement, after resolutions, he may make a close attack to only target a character with a wounded token. Why? Why can he do this? He can charge at you for 4 squares with his 8 movement. Then he will flurry you, hit you twice. And then if he hits you, you're wounded. And since he's ended a movement, that charge, and you're wounded, he's going to attack you again. And then he can sidestep, just burp, burp, and hit you again. He's also colossal, so he has giant reach. So he's going to charge 4 squares and then hit you on the 6th square away from where he started. And then he's going to flurry you, and then he's going to hit you, and then he's going to sidestep, burp, burp, and hit you again. Why? You're dead. Why? Why can he do this? Also, he has a stop click of invulnerability, so you can't even poison him. You have to deal 2 damage to him, or penetrating damage. And if an opposing character has a wounded token, you do not stop during his stop click. So if you just kill everybody, his stop click doesn't happen. But also, you're healing every time you hit somebody. And his numbers are not bad, right? Like, we'll take a closer look on the back of his card, but his numbers are not bad. He's got a long-ass dial. If you can get him up to even like the 4th hit here, he's basically unkillable at this point, especially if something still has the wounded token on them. He's going to stop click and he's going to do it all over again. For 15 points, this guy is bonkers crazy. If you ever get a Wendigo, play this piece. This piece is crazy. So yeah, that's our first 3 mystical pieces. How could it get any worse? With a funny little Captain Avalon. So this Captain Avalon is not mandatory for this team. There's a bunch of 70-point mystic figures that fit his role, but I got him out of the participation prize for the X of Swords organized play event, and I wanted to play him because he's funny. We don't get to do the Sword Bearer because we just don't have enough points on the team, unfortunately, but he also has traded leadership, so we have 2 redundant leaderships on the team, so we're always moving, we're always removing tokens. We've got the motion to get there. And when Captain Avalon takes damage from an attack, roll a d6. And Captain Avalon can use the listed power until your next turn. Either Battle Fury, which can ignore... when you have Battle Fury, you cannot be mind controlled and you ignore shape changes. So if your opponent's doing any annoying rollout stuff, you can Battle Fury into them. Or if they're doing any annoying mind control stuff, you can Battle Fury into them. Or he gets willpower. So not only does he have leadership, but also now he has willpower. So he's removing his own tokens and other people's tokens. That's dumb. Then he has Steel Energy on his special attack ability. When Captain Avalon uses it, if he occupies a square close to his starting area than your opponent's, he heals 2. So he's also never going to die because he heals 2. And then he's got some charge, some flurry, some vulnerability, some exploit weakness. He has a lot of health for only 70 points. So you can see that he has this Steel Energy, which can double Steel Energy as long as you're closer to your base than theirs. His entire dial, basically. He's got penetrating damage. He goes to close combat expert, so he can flurry with that. So you will flurry on your second to last click here with an 11 for 4 damage, and then you will flurry again, and you will heal 4 clicks. so he's also unkillable. Your team player, unfortunately, cannot copy your Mystics team ability because Mystics is uncopyable, but it's nice to have, I guess. So he also is charging in, flurrying in, healing up a bunch, really hard to kill, got decent defenses, although admittedly it's not stellar, it could be better. He can fly as well, so he can also double as a carrier. The Wendigo cannot be carried because he's giant, but he can carry any smaller characters because he's giant. And Laura here does not fly. So that's a little bit of a shame, but we do what we can with this team. Then, next up, we've got Captain Britain, Miss Betsy Braddock herself. This is the 30-point line from House of X. There's a few Captain Britons that have been out recently, and I love every single one of them. They're all super awesome. They're all super fun. So starting with this, we've got the Excalibur Mystical Protectors. This was a common thing in this set, as well as I think it shows up a little bit in X of Swords as well with a couple of the figures. They have Mystics team ability, but only during range attacks. So if they range attack your character, you can Mystics them back. And they are protected from Mystics. Now, if you give the Soul Sword to Captain Britain, this does not count as her having Mystics, unfortunately. This is like a weird half Mystics. So you do not get the heal effect, even if they hit you with melee. So you do not get the heal effect, even if you hit with range. So the Soul Sword will give her the Mystics ability fully, but if they hit you with range attack, she'll double tack them with the Mystics, but the Soul Sword will not get its additional effect because she's not considered to have Mystics. She has this weird in their thing. Then also traded, she also has leadership. So that's our third traded leadership piece. So like I said, we never have action tokens on this team. And also, when she uses leadership and she succeeds, she may also remove an action token from a friendly character within range that is an X-Men or Excalibur keyword. So you can remove it from Laura, or you can remove it from Magic, or you can remove it from Captain Avalon. These two are X-Men and he is Excalibur. So unfortunately, we can't remove it from our Blackheart or our Wendigo, but honestly, they don't need the help. That's what this leadership is for and that leadership is for. They can do whatever they want. She does have a range of 3, so she can also get her normal leadership removal and then anybody within 3, which includes herself. She's friendly to herself, remember. So if she's standing next to Blackheart and she hits her leadership, she can just remove the token from Blackheart and then remove the token from herself. So she's always moving. Everyone's always moving. Then as a special attack ability, we have Blades, Claws, Fangs. So basically everybody on this team has blades. So you're always doing a lot of damage. And once per turn, when Captain Britain uses it, you may choose to reduce the D6 roll by 1 or 2. You decrease this before rolling. And if you do, you decrease the target's combat values by the same amount until your next turn. Why? Why can she do this? Why can I choose to reduce my roll by 2, still do a minimum of 1 or potentially even 2 damage if I roll well, and then reduce all of your stats by 2 for the entire rest of the turn? If you have a 2 damage, congrats. You have no damage now. If you have a 6 range, congrats, you have a 4 range. If you had a 19 defense, congrats, now you have a 17 defense. And that was high to begin with. You can perplex that down with our magic here. You can just get rid of shit. You don't even care. They don't exist anymore. Makes everybody else easier to hit. You get them the wounded token, you drop all their stats by 2, then Wendigo comes in and annihilates them and kills them easy. Then she's got some nice little utility stats here, and we are an X-Men team ability. It's not super relevant. Magic technically also has the X-Men team ability, but like realistically doesn't often come up. Technically it's there, but doesn't often come up. So Captain Britain on her 30-point line here starts with an outwit, so we can outwit any annoying shenanigans our opponents are trying to do to lock us up before we get into their entire butthole. Then we've got the charge and the blades. We go up to a plasticity with the toughness and then into the combat reflexes. The second and third click here are a little bit stronger than the first click, but we do need that first click to get her into the battle. She has charge, she can carry with that charge. We have perplex up with magic, we can get her in a little farther. Very useful stuff there. Then to round out the team, we've got our girl, Magic, the little utility piece that ties everything together. So she's also Sword Bearer, but again, we do not have the points to give her the Sword Bearer, to give her a sword. But she's got Phasing Teleport, Passenger 4, but only to carry characters that share a keyword with her. Would you look at that? We're playing Mystical. So she can carry 1, 2, 3, 4. She can't carry the big guy. So 1, 2, 3, 4. She carries everybody. Would you look at that? And then you've got 3 leaderships that are going to remove that token from her. So she's always moving. She also has Phasing Teleport, so she can carry everybody through walls, or up elevation, or behind the enemy's asshole. And then she has Perplex, and she jumps to an Empower. She's just a nice little utility piece. She only has 4 clicks of life. She's only 25 points, so if they do manage to kill her, it's not that bad. And she's got that phasing carry ability on the first and the last one. So if she takes 3 damage, which is a pretty common amount of damage for somebody with an outer reducer to take, then she still has all of her relevant stuff. She drops the defense, but everything else is the exact same. She also starts with Perplex, then goes to Empower in the middle, then Perplex. This team can definitely take use of this Empower. But keep in mind that if you have somebody next to an Empower and the guy is using Blades, Claws, Fangs, the Empower does not affect the Blades, Claws, Fangs. The Blades, Claws, Fangs is a replacement, and then you do not get the Empower damage on top, unfortunately. But Magic is how we can carry everyone into their entire team. We can perplex up our own movement up to a 9, then carry everybody in. And then we've got 3 leaderships to protect her, stand in front, get the Laura up in front, get the Blackheart up in front. Those are the guys we want to take damage. Wendigo catches up, and then next turn, we just go crazy. We summon a bunch of Blackheart guards, we go crazy with Weapon Hex, we charge in, we do a bunch of blade shenanigans, we do a bunch of healing, we have a bunch of mystical. Wendigo comes up and annihilates them because he's going to make like 15 attacks in one turn if anything's wounded. This team is very funny. This team is very aggressive. This is an all-in, balls to the walls, mailing into your butthole kind of team, and it's very effective at doing that. You can get to your opponent every turn. You can keep moving every turn. Your opponent can't kill your main 2 threats here, which are the Weapon Hex and the Blackheart, because of their mistakes, because of their shenanigans, because of the healing with the Soul Sword, because of the Mastermind of the Goons. You're going to have a million attacks every turn with Wendigo's free attacks on the sidestep, the charge, the flurry, anytime he ends his movement, he attacks. She can charge in. He can free charge in. Summons the Goons to free charge in. Flurry blades, charge blades, healing, mystics. I like this team. I'm a fan of this team. If you are a fan of aggressive, all-in, balls-to-the-walls teams, and you happen to have a Weapon Hex, I highly recommend this team. If you've been playing in the X of Swords organized play events, or if you're going to plan on playing them in the next few months or in the next coming weeks, this Captain Avalon you'll already have. If you've been playing the game for a while, this Captain Britain is a super rare out of the House of X set, which already has a bunch of crazy figures in it. So this figure is not that bad to pick up. This Magic is a common, so that's nice. The Wendigo is a rare, so if you're able to get your hands on some Dark Phoenix Saga, in my experience, 1 brick gets you a Wendigo. I opened a brick, I got a Wendigo. Jordan opened a brick, he got a Wendigo. It's not guaranteed, obviously. I don't want to say anything that I can't back up, but Wendigo is not that hard to pull. Now, the Blackheart super rare, this figure's a little expensive, and you do need some guards with him. The guards do not start on your sideline, so you can have as many as you want. They are generated in the middle of the game, but you do need to keep track of how many have died. And then the Weapon Hex is a chase. So this team is not insanely easy to pull, but it's definitely not hard by any means, or not even that expensive to just pick up. The Soul Sword is crazy. This Weapon Hex is crazy. I love this team. If anybody else has any suggestions for any other Weapon Hex teams, I will be keeping my eyes out because I want to build every team possible with this Weapon Hex. And with that, we will see you guys next time with a new team build next week.